Hello, welcome to Painting with Jasmine Rempel. I have some commissions to do, Christmas card commissions of snow families. And so I'm going to take some time to prepare to create little families in outdoor scenes. I have, the first I'm going to start with is two 4-people families. 2 adults and 2 children on each of these. So I'm going to start today by sketching them out, and then I'll begin to apply the masking fluid and the color. So first of all, I'm having them horizontal, so I'm going to create a horizon line, and just simply across about 1/3 way down the page on both. There we are. Leaves plenty of room for sky, which is where a lot of the magic takes place from the salt. And then I'm going to begin to sketch out my snow people. So I think what I'll do is start with the mom and dad figures. There's the first snowball, the second, and the third. That can be the dad. Mom can be beside the dad, just a little smaller. I don't actually know the size of the families I'm being asked to create. They will be holding hands. I'll connect their arms there, and then I'll have the children beside them. Again, I don't know the age of the children, so I'll assume one is a little larger than the other. There we go, one by dad and one by mom. Have a little look at what I've got here. I think I'll have mom's arm just reaching out for this little one. I think I'll have her or his arms on hips, and dad's arm will be reaching out for this little one. And she might be waving, and an arm on the hip. That's pretty cute. There's a little snow family. They will have hats, so I'll sketch in little toques pointed up with another snowball, a toque pointed up, another snowball, or a pom-pom, not a snowball. Okay, a little toque going up, and maybe this one can have earmuffs. I'll have earmuffs here. Okay, there's the first sketch. Let me just make sure you're able to see that. Yep, looks like it. Next sketch over here will be similar, but I will put that on time lapse for you. Okay, it's time to put masking fluid on my snow figures, and I've also added on the left card a tree sketch. I'm going to add in a tree to fill in a bit of that negative space because the family is more bunched together. All right, so I have a variety of brushes here. These are round brushes, and I have a number 4 round, a number 2 round, and a number 1 round, and I will be using these for the masking fluid. I have some water, I have some ivory soap, and I have some Winsor Newton masking fluid. All right, so I will start with my number 2 brush. I'm getting it wet, and I roll it around when it's wet in the ivory soap and cover the bristles with soap. That way the masking fluid won't adhere to the bristles and wreck my brush. All right, I'm just tipping my brush to fill the bristles with masking fluid just on the tip, I'm just going to use it like paint, and I'm going to paint in the areas that I've sketched. What this will end up doing is saving the white of the paper, masking it out when I go to paint the background color. Cleaning my brush, applying more soap, and applying more masking fluid. And this part is repeated over and over just for the snowballs and the toques, not for the actual hats. Excuse me, yes, for the toques, not for the branches, for the arms. Those I will do later and paint a dark value for them on top of the background color. So there is the snow father. Cleaning my brush again, rolling it around in the ivory soap, and I'm going to start in on the snow mother. Now, the client who has ordered these cards has ordered has ordered 8. She wants to give them to 8 different families for Christmas, I'm assuming. And so she wrote to me and told me how many people are in each family and how many children. So once all 8 cards are finished, I will get them delivered to her. It's so fun to use my painting joy to share and spread more season's greetings to other families. Okay, what I'm going to do now is put this on time lapse and fill in the rest of the snow families, and then I will put it on real time to show you how I mask out the tree. Okay, my snow figures are masked in. Now it's time for the tree on the left card. And I again am just getting my brush filled with soap. This is a number 4 round. And for this tree, I'm just going to mask out some areas that I want to be, that I would like to be branches covered in snow. I am doing a downward motion with my brush and using the tip to add what could potentially be branches. Hoping you can see this well enough. The masking fluid has a yellow tint to it. It's going to be a heavy snow, really pulling those branches down, weighing them down. And good. Okay, that's good. now I'm going to again use my number 4, have it saturated with ivory soap, use some masking fluid, and I'm going to tap in some masking fluid in the sky area, and it ends up looking like either stars or snow, either or. Every time I reach for masking fluid, I first clean my brush and then apply more soap. These brushes are precious to me, as I'm sure you know when you paint. When you find brushes that work well for your style, you want to hold on to them as long as possible, so you take good care of them. Okay, that's good. Clean off my brush, and I'm actually going to clean it off by rubbing it around in some more soap. And then I'm going to pause this video and go and wash it and change my water. Okay, so I'm ready to apply my background. First, I'm using a number 12 round just to fill in the sky with water. There is some very diluted pigment in my water because I just made I just activated my Prussian blue, my diaxizone purple, and my Paynes gray. I am putting this on a Strathmore watercolor card that I purchased from Amazon. It is 5 by 7 inches, and I just want to saturate my background with water so that I can apply the wet on wet technique to this card. Okay, that has got a nice sheen to it, and so I'm going now into my Prussian blue, and this is Winsor Newton Professional paint, and I'm going to just begin to tap it in, run it along the top. I want the sky to be quite a dark hue so that my salt effect will be strong with it. Now I'm going to take some of my purple, add that to the Prussian blue for a little alternate color here and there, add some interest, and I'm just pulling it across the sky. Cleaning my brush, I'm going back into my purple, mixing some with the Prussian blue, and bringing that different hue down in other areas. And now, at the bottom, I am going into some viridian green, adding Prussian blue to that viridian green, and I'm going to tap some in the very base behind the snow people to give the impression of some trees in the background. And those are bleeding upwards at this time. That's nice. Back into the Prussian blue to finish off, adding some color here. And this has a tiny touch of Paynes gray in it. Okay, now I'm going to lift my board that I'm working on so that the pigment will run. And I'm going to have a brush that has been dried a bit to lift off some of the edges here. Okay, and this way the green is bleeding at this point downwards, and that will make it look more believable that it's tips of trees tapping a little bit of green in again, here and there. Let's have a look. Good, I see that it's dried near the top, and so I'm going to want to have a bit of a, just add some more pigment here and encourage that color to spread some more. I might get a back run or a bloom, and if I do, that's okay. Skies can be dramatic and interesting. Okay, that's probably going to be good. What I'm going to do now is get my number 4 round. Sorry about that noise in the background. That's my cat playing with his ball. And I'm going to tap right now. I'm getting white gouache wet and creating a creamy consistency. And I'm going to tap that white gouache, and again, it can be snow or stars as it bleeds out onto the wet surface. And now is a good time to get some kosher salt. Where is my kosher salt? Here it is. It's in a little container close by. And I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of this up in the sky. And let that do its thing. All right, I'm going to put you on time lapse as I do a similar, something similar up here. Okay, so here we are again, ready to carry on with this watercolor snow people project. And I've got these lovely dark skies where the salt has done its thing. Just straightening out my board here. And so I'm ready to carry on. The first thing to do is to use this rubber cement and rub off the salt and the masking fluid. There we go. All right, I've got some really lovely effects in the sky here, and the impression of trees in the background, and now it's time to begin to work on the snow people. They're quite small, so I'll head for smaller round brushes. I have here a 4 and I have a 2 ready. And what I'm going to do, I still have some of this nice blue purple mixture from the sky, and so I'm going to use that, the Prussian blue, the purple, in a diluted form, and I'm going to use that to fill in shadows on the snow people. I think I'll have the shadows going this way, the cast shadows, and imagine a light source coming from the side. Start with the father down around the edge of the snowball. I'm applying wet on dry. Cleaning off my brush, and I'm going to pull out that color. Cleaning off my brush a little more. And there we go. Let it blend and bleed nicely so I don't have a hard edge. Good. I'll do the same thing with the same color for each of the snow people. This one turned out to be quite a skinny little snow person. I'm imagining it to be a sister, a daughter, sister, maybe a preteen. All right, and head into the mom. What a privilege to make a snow family for a family. I hope that they love this. Seeing themselves represented through a watercolor art card for Christmas. There we go. I'll add a little more right in here. And this I'm thinking is a little boy. I don't know, though. When I got the commission, I was just told that that it's 2 adults and 2 children. So nice. Looks like this little boy, if it's a boy, is coming forward. The little girl's behind, almost like they're walking. And maybe they're having a little walk. Okay. Now I'm thinking I'm going to keep this same brush size for the snow family's middle portions, the mother and the father at least, but I need to move to a smaller brush for the children. Again, I cleaned my brush and just applied wet water for the lighter portion of the snowball. That way I'm getting a shadow effect on one side and a light on the other, creating the illusion of form. Okay, now I'm using my number 2 round for this little snow girl's tummy area. Clean off my brush, pull it out with just water, let it bleed out. And same for this little boy and his belly. I was just spending time with a little girl and a little boy. I have grandchildren, and it was a birthday party for my granddaughter. She turned 6. We were at something called Apex, which is basically a big trampoline park. I spent most of my time chasing the 2-year-old brother, following him around. It was a lot of fun. And tiring. Okay, and we'll go into the faces. The mum seems to have a little bit of a bulge coming off her face. I might have to fix that in a little bit. I'm being mindful of the hats while I paint, saving that white. Apply a color in there in a little bit. Fine detail work. I was going to have this little guy have earmuffs, but I actually think I'll put a hat that just doesn't have a pom-pom. A little toque. There we go. Cute, sweet, fun. All right, now let's get some toque colors. I think for my little girl, I'm going into some permanent rose for her hat. So small. It's actually beginning to bleed out into the face. I didn't allow time for the face to dry, so I'm taking a dry brush here and I'm just lifting some of that color that's bleeding out. I wasn't patient enough to let it dry first. That's okay. I've lifted that out and I can always go back in later and reapply the shadow. All right, let's touch the dad's faces. It is dry enough. I'm going into cadmium yellow, medium, for the dad's face. Dad's toque, I mean. Fill that in. Nice and warm. That color contrasts so well with that cool background. Nice. And I think I'll lift a little bit here to give the impression of a little highlight. And I'll do the same for her toque. A little lift on the edge. Okay. Now, the mom, why don't I use a violet for hers? I have another purple, but not the original purple I used in the sky. I'll have the name of the violet. I can't remember the name exactly right now. I will have the name of this color in the details, the description of this YouTube video. If you look there, you can find it. If you want to use exactly, but honestly, any color you choose for your toques will be lovely. Lift for a little highlight. The edge. They almost look like party hats. I think I lifted a little too much. Let's go back in there a bit. There we go. And the little boy, let's give him red. I'm going into cadmium red medium. Nice warm red. And I'll apply that to his little toque. There we go. Now I like to give them scarves. Back into the rose, permanent rose for their little girl. I want some thicker paint. Oh, how sweet is that? She's got a tiny little neck. And let's just pull down a bit for her scarf. There we go. And mother, back into that violet. Just gonna make it a little thicker around her neck. There we go. I added a little bit of permanent rose to hers. Pretty. Okay, Dad, cadmium yellow medium. A little hard to see. I think for this one, I'm going into my white gouache, and I'm going to take some of the white gouache and mix it with that cadmium yellow medium. And that way we'll see it better on the snow dad. Getting there. And white gouache, and I'll mix those in together right here. It just thickens up the paint. And that way the blue background, we don't see it coming through as much. It becomes a pastel yellow. There. I give him his own little, there we go. Maybe 2 for him. Sweet. And the little boy with his red. And actually, I'm going to mix that red with the cadmium orange, the cadmium yellow, and give him actually more of an orange. There we go. And I think I'll add that to his hat as well. Okay, so I'm going to do the cast shadows now, or the faces. I really get excited about putting on the faces. So here I have a round 00, and I'm going into Paynes gray. I'll do some little eyes. Little smile. And the dad. The happy little family. And again into that Paynes gray, the little boy. And the little girl. Okay. And give them some orange noses. Too cute. Okay. They need their arms. For their arms, and buttons. All right, for buttons, it's back into the Paynes gray. Dad's scarf is covering some of the buttons, so I'll do one poking out there. That looks a little funny, actually. Let's maybe lift that off a bit and just let it be. I think I'm gonna get it wet and then lift. There. Dad doesn't have buttons. They're hidden under his scarf. All right, so for this little girl, there's what's white here. It looks like her snowball isn't connected. Oh, I need to deepen that up. Get my brush wet and blend it out. That's better. The Mum's is quite open there too, so I'm going to go into some white gouache and attempt to fill that in a bit. Make it more connected for her. There. And I'll have to add in the shadow colors and repaint her scarf over there, over that. And for behind her head there, I'm going to want some of that Prussian blue with the purple, my background color, and a bit diluted. And I'm going to just tap that in around her head here. And make it look like it's a part of the background. Get a bigger brush and have it bleed out a bit. That might take a couple more times. Add a bit more in here. There. It'll dry lighter. Good. Okay, so let's get some arms on these sweet little snow figures. I'm going into burnt umber. It's a nice brown, and I'm adding Prussian blue to it to darken it up. Okay, I wanted Mum's arm to come out, go behind. She's has her arm around her little girl's arm. Let's have it coming down. The other one on her hip, maybe. I wanted his arm to look like it's waving. And maybe Dad's arm on him. Another one just going down. And the parents holding hands. Stick hands. There, that's pretty cute. I think that works. Okay, next I'm going to add some shadow under their hats. Under their scarves. And where one snowball touches another, I'm just going into a bluish color, pulling it down, cleaning my brush, and applying just water to let it bleed out. happy little snow boy who's waving. Give him some shadows. Bring some form. That's what the shadows are doing. Bringing form. Making a 3D effects. Okay. Now, let's give cast shadows. Just going to erase the base of these snowballs and create some cast shadows going sideways. I think I will use my number 4 brush. I'm going into Paynes gray with some Prussian blue and actually some green, because I have green in here. So okay, start with her. And clean my brush, pull out that color with just a wet brush. And there's her shadow. All right, moving into, looks like he's already got one started here, so bring that in around. Good, right there. Clean my brush and pull his shadow out. And next, and the mom. These round brushes have lovely fine tips, so I can really get a nice small line there. Bring mom's shadow out and clean my brush, pull that out, connect a bit with the daughter's. Looks like mom, I actually want it to, there, connect even more. Just going around her snowball a bit. That'll be okay. Okay, and Dad. Happy little snow family, casting shadows. There. Let some of those shadows go together, blend out. Okay, I think that's good. Yeah, nice. All right, so next, they're pom-poms. I can keep that color, but again, putting shadow on the pom-poms. Clean my brush, blend it out. There we go. They're white, but not so white. And this little guy, I think I want to give him a pom-pom. So I'm in the white gouache and just tap it around here, white gouache. There. He's matching his family. Okay, so the snow is very stark, so I'm going to use that original number 8 round that I used for the sky, and I'm going to reach into some of that nice purple, mix it with some of the Prussian blue. I'm just going to run it along the snow a bit, and then add some water underneath, let it bleed out. Do the same in a couple of random places, just sort of give a little more interest to the picture. A little bit here as well. There. And then it's just not so stark. Okay, sweet. Next, I'm going into my white gouache again, and I'm going to tap some of that around the snow people, add a little more snow fall. Good. And last, I'm going to use my number 1 brush, get it clean and wet, and I'm just going to rub up and down here and dab, creating a nice white line. Rub up and down, dab, white line. I'm going to make a star, one big shining star. Christmas magic, winter magic, beauty of the night. Back and forth, rub, 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 and lift. There's a star. Go into the white gouache, wet, and right on top of that beautiful star form, just put the gouache on it. Whoops, that was huge. That's okay. A very bright star. I think I'm gonna lift that. I did not mean that to be that big. The nice thing about gouache is it dries very light, but that might have been, I might have been too excited about that star there. So just get it wet and lift it. It's forgiving. There. Try then take 2 with my gouache. Take 2 and a little bit slower this time. A little more careful. There we are. That feels better. There we go. I'm feeling the song "Oh Holy Night" coming into mind when I put this down. That's my favorite Christmas carol. Aw, there's a sweet little snow family waving, saying hello. And they are wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do is sign this, and then I'm going to work on this one in time lapse so that you can see what I do. When I get to the tree, I'll go back to real time. I think I'll just sign this with just a cool mixture of color I already had before, JR, and let's pull in a little more of the background color right in here. Darken that up. A little more fussing to do. Okay, let's lift off the tape. Beautiful white border. And there we have Christmas card, blank inside, ready to be shared. Okay, here's this sweet little snow family. What I want to do now is finish off this tree, and to do that I'm going into my viridian green and I'm mixing it into some Prussian blue, and I'm also going to add a little bit of yellow medium. And now I've got a nice rich green, and I'm going to come along under this tree and begin to add some branch effects. This is quite a loaded brush. Can do a lot with it. I'm just pulling down where I'm imagining that there could be some foliage peeking out from under all that snow. Adding a bit of water, just a brush. My brush just has water in it now, just to carry out this paint a little further. And I'm going back into my color. I'm going to let some of it bleed out. Deepen it up down here. Okay. Where the snow meets the ground, I'm going to add a little more blue. And I'm going to have just a wet brush and let that bleed out a bit. Add a little cast shadow from the tree. Darker dabs here and there. There. Now I'm going to take this same brush and I'm going to do some tapping. Add some impressions of trees back in here. Not being very careful, just pulling the paint, tapping it up. And again, back and forth. Some darker areas in the background. Sweet. And on the tree, bring some shadowing in. I want quite a diluted color here. Diluted shadow color onto some of that snow in the odd place. There we go. I think that looks quite nice. Now, getting my number 8 brush, going into a bit of that shadow color and adding purple to it. Shadow color being a bit of Paynes gray, a bit of Prussian blue, and quite diluted. I'm just going to run that brush here and there. And just a wet brush now. Let some of this bleed out the bottom and top. There we go. Maybe a bit here as well. Touches. Okay, that is very pretty. Very pretty. Taking more shadow into the snow here. Okay. I think that's done. The last thing to do is to tap some number 4 brush. I'm going to tap some white gouache. I don't think I'll put a star in this one. It's snowing out. And my rigger brush or liner brush, I'm going to sign a little dry spot here. JR. And let's lift this. Now we've got 2 lovely cards for a family this Christmas. 2 happy snow families. What I would just do here, when I was sure this was dry, which it is, I'd just go over it with my eraser, kneaded eraser, gummy one, and I'd erase a few more of the lines. I'll do that here later as well. I'll bring this up so you can see the details a little bit closer. There's our first card, or excuse me, the card on the left, and the card on the right. Thank you so much for joining me today, painting with Jasmine Rempel Art. You can find me on Instagram under Jasmine Rempel Art, JASMINEREMPEL Art. And if you've joined me today and created a snow family, please share it with me. I just love seeing the way that I've been able to inspire others through YouTube tutorials, because I have certainly been inspired by others. All the best. Bye-bye.